Hi, I'm Jason Hill.
And I'm James Blackburn.
And I'm Danny Linsky.
You're James Blackburn?
Yeah, that's me.
Very energized.
And this is No Joke Survival.
Preparations for the average family.
And on this week's episode, we're going to be discussing canning and preserving.
Woot woot.
All right, one of our favorite subject matters.
Yeah, that's right. And, why is it so awesome? Like, we normally do the intro and talk about why it's important to do canning. So,
take it away.
Well, a lot of reasons.
There are a lot of reasons. It's not just something that necessarily that your mom or grandparents would do. It's a little bit of a pride if it's something out of your own garden and you can can it and say this is mine, and it makes a great gift. I mean.
Oh, sure.
It does. Well,
Yeah.
I like
Merry Christmas.
something that she mentioned during the break was that if you do have a garden and you have a really good year, and all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of vegetables that you can't possibly eat before they go bad, well, here's a good option for reserving them and saving them for later.
That's right.
And what flavor is that?
We have some black grape jam.
Yummy. Yes, with
That was
garlic.
so easy,
Garlic.
just like,
There's a big old chunk right there. But
she's all happy and everything.
There you go.
easily pleased.
I'll probably get like a food preserver for Christmas now.
Yes.
Yay! A dehydrator.
A dehydrator.
Right there.
But
Yummy.
the thing with this is, we talk about crises and natural disasters, and we've talked about, well, what if the stores run out of food or trucks can't get to them because the roads are blocked? And again, within a couple days, all that food is going to be gone. And you had a story about that, didn't you?
I did, and we've all experienced it. We had a humongous snowstorm here about 7 years ago, and in the 4 days that we were cut off from the outside world, no semi-trucks coming in, I witnessed the grocery stores almost emptying out in 4 days. At least all the essentials were completely bare. So if you have some food preserved and ready to go, because you never know what curveball Mother Nature is going to throw at you.
Yeah.
And so that week I was glad I had extra food at home and extra things already preserved and canned, because with no food in the grocery store, couldn't eat all that snow.
Yeah, and all the good stuff's going to be gone, so unless you feel like eating a week's worth of artichoke hearts or something,
Yeah, exactly. That would be fun.
Well, and when my family was living in Alabama, I mean, our house was totaled in a tornado, and both my parents had, the foresight to do a lot of prepping, and so we had a lot of canned goods that miraculously made it, through after the tornado. And it's one of those things as well when you might be worried about your financial situation after having lost a home and whatnot. The last thing that you really want to have to worry about is just having food on the table. And so we were set for a good long while.
And that's the nice thing is that, most of the stuff will store for 1 to 2 years. Some of your meats and other items are, maybe 3 to 6 months, but you can have a whole pantry full of this and know that you're taken care of for months. Just like you said, no worries. And that peace of mind is really good to have.
Well, and it's not just for canning and preserving, jellies and stuff like that too. I mean, as you were saying, meat, vegetables, I mean, almost anything you can think of can be actually preserved like that, right?
Yeah, it's amazing the things that you can. You have to definitely follow the instructions and do it properly. But with that being said, you can
Just
so
about
many
anything.
things.
Yep.
And then it's important also to date the can, obviously, so that you know when it was made, and you kind of got an idea for the shelf life on it as well.
And the other important thing is we did food storage, and so we talk about having some of them dry goods, beans and rice, and by doing the canning, then you supplement that. And you're not just eating bland stuff, And so having a good variety of canned stuff in your pantry, I mean,
You can have a gourmet meal out of everything that you've prepared.
God, what is that?
Some salsa. And
So, when we come back from the break, what we're going to do is we'll talk a little bit more about some of the items that we can can, and do a little basic demonstration of canning some potatoes.
a little walkthrough of the different steps.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
because there are some very specific steps, and you definitely want to do it correctly. But with that being said, you can spend one day, get all kinds of stuff canned, and forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
So come back after the break, and we're going to be showing you a lot of really cool information things, and we're glad that you're here.
Yep. Anyone bring chips? Because the salsa.
I didn't think that you'd have salsa.
We do have
It looks
potatoes.
pretty-
Hi there. Welcome back to No Joke Survival.
Preparations for the average family.
Now, we started off this episode talking about canning and preserving, which is always a fun and exciting episode because we get to talk and about all these cool things that we can. So let's just kick off this with what are some of the popular items, or what are some of the items that we can for
That you can?
that you can.
I can do the
Is that a
can.
dance?
The can. Because you can do it. Well, this is the salsa one that we talked about on the last break. Obviously, this has a variety of vegetables already in it, and everything in here, since it can be preserved as salsa, can be preserved separately as well, right?
Yeah.
Well, and something that everyone, I'm sure, is well aware of are cucumbers, and therefore pickles.
Pickles,
you know,
yeah.
and they're healthy snack. You can kind of make your own pickling spice. You can get them from a little thing from the store that's made specifically for pickling spice. But if you want dill versus sweet, you know, whatever, there's just all kinds of variety.
And pickles just happen to be one of my favorites, and I'm actually out. I've got to make some more. But I had dill and jalapenos from my garden, you know, and so the spices that were in there were ones that I
bet
grew.
that was tasty.
That was delicious.
When you get
That's
some
why
more,
you're out.
Yeah. Which is why
when you
they're
get
all
some more
gone.
ready, let us know and we'll come by and have some. 'cause
Exactly.
have a pickle party. I don't know if that's a thing, but it could be.
It will be
We'll
now.
start the first annual pickle party.
First annual.
Yeah. So what else you got over there? I see some peaches maybe.
But you
had other stuff
Hey,
too.
that's mine.
Yep. That's your
my
jelly.
black grape
That's a Christmas
jelly.
gift there.
And one of the nice things, jelly is kind of one of the more popular ones, jams and jellies, because it's a little bit easier process where you just kind of boil the fruit, you know, and then it goes into the jars, and it's a lot quicker. You don't have to pressure cook them.
And it's sweet.
And it's sweet, so you get that sugar fix. But it also will brighten your day. I mean, if you're just having a bad day and you have a roll or a biscuit with some fresh jelly, it's delicious.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm sorry I brought up the peaches first, but that's one of my favorite fruits right there.
James, I see you eyeballing.
That is my nickname is Peaches.
Maybe that will.
So that's why I guess I like them so
I
much.
sense there's
but
a
yeah.
backstory to
Yes,
this,
but it's not important for the show.
yeah, well.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Merry
Oh,
Christmas.
I love peaches
Yay.
and kisses.
And that's what makes those popular, as well as a number of people have fruit trees. So you have cherry tree or an apple tree, peaches. All those items, you can store this stuff. You can also make like compote and use it for pies or putting over ice cream. A million uses, so easy to do.
And I see the applesauce here. I'm a huge fan of applesauce. My mom used to make. I say used to. I mean, she hasn't in a few years, you know, or at least she has, and I just have never been home to enjoy it. But she makes a cinnamon applesauce, and it was always out of this world. And we had just a dwarf tree, but it would always give us so many apples that we would have to find other uses for them, and applesauce was a great way to use them up.
Yep. And then there's meats. So that's chicken. Again, you have to follow really strict guidelines to make sure, just as a safety warning, because botulism can kill you. So you want to be really critical and follow recommended guidelines. Do your research before you actually can some of these items.
Gotcha.
And then the one that I'm fixing to start a little demonstration on is potatoes.
Potatoes.
Because I say potato and you say
Potato.
yeah.
And I say, hey, it's all right either way.
And these are ones that I actually did, and they're nice and yummy. Pull them out, make mashed potatoes or whatever. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try to do a quick step-by-step of the process to actually make this happen.
All right.
And So we're going to clear. Well, how about we slide some of these items?
Slide some of this out of the way. Some
That away.
lovely cans.
Got plenty of yummy eateries.
I think we're going to be set for quite a while.
Okay, so these are really common, these jars. And there's 3 pieces. You have the glass jar, the lid, and the sealing cap.
Gotcha.
And so the first thing that you want to do is to either boil these, or you can put them in a dishwasher at a really high heat, and sanitize them, including the lids. You want to make sure all those parts are super, super clean. You don't want any bacteria in there because it's going to be sitting for a while.
And that would definitely shorten the lifespan of your item without necessarily even knowing it. You ought to crack open your applesauce or whatever, and you cry because it's gone bad.
Well, and a lot of times if you do get bacteria in here, it doesn't just stay the same, it spreads and gets worse, right? So it could really make you sick if you're not careful. And there's one of our favorite items, the legendary stove.
This is a camp stove. No, I don't have a propane tank hooked up. This is for simulation.
Acting.
Should we be worried about any kind of flame anyway?
But what I'm going to do is I have a pot of water here, and I'm going to put that on the stove. There's a flame. You can see it. It's heating up.
Oh, yeah, feels good.
And what that's for is once we put the potatoes in the jar, we're going to ladle some boiling water on top of them. And so we want to go ahead and get that water started.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
We also want to get the water started in our pressure cooker. With potatoes, you have to have a pressure cooker to do them. And so we're going to put 3 quarts of water in here. And these are really great because, okay, here's the weight timer. You can just cook so many different things in here. I did a turkey in here one year.
Holy cow,
wow.
nice.
And you still have a house, so you know what you're doing with a pressure cooker.
And then this is a little rocker. And once it gets rid of all the water, the steam, and you put this on here, this will rock back and forth. Now, the way it's set right now, that's 5 pounds of pressure. That's 10. And when you have all 3 of them on there, it's 15. That makes a difference when you're looking at your recipes. Also, the elevation that you live in will make a difference. At our elevation, a mile above sea level, we're going to do everything at 15 PSI.
Gotcha.
Pounds per
So at like sea level, then you could use less than, is what you're saying.
Depending on the recipe. Again, you always got to check.
Okay.
These same potatoes at sea level can be done at 10 PSI for 35 minutes. At our elevation, it's 15 PSI. So, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you some of these items, Danny, and you can kind of, this is where we do our beginner's box.
Yeah. The thing that's interesting about canning, exactly, is that there's no real box here. For one, I mean, you could see that pressure cooker. It's just too darn big to put in a box. And so figuratively, you just need to keep in mind that the beginner's box are beginner's equipment that you need. And so these are some of the items that you'll need for canning. And we'll start off, as I hit you with a potato peeler, we'll start off by just showing you a peeler here. Since we're going to be demonstrating canning potatoes, you don't really have to go and break the bank. These will do for you, and when they break, you can go and spend a couple bucks and go get another one. And we're not breaking stuff over there. All right.
Not me.
This, actually, is our lovely funnel. And just to do a quick demonstration, after you've, say you're doing a jelly, after you've cooked it down and everything, you can, when you have a ladle, to go straight from a ladle into that can be a very messy thing.
In fact, don't mean to cut you off, but we'll kind of do this live.
Oh, beginner's box live!
Yeah, so we'll integrate the items as we're doing this. So we have our clean jars. We cut up some potatoes. Okay.
How fast was that?
And so,
see, we already
without
lost
dropping
one.
them, this is how not to do it, just in case anyone's wondering.
Pretend that was in there.
This is all simulation. I'm not eating these.
Look at that.
Okay.
That would have alleviated the spilling potatoes. I'm just saying.
So now you can use your ladle, because what we want to do is we want to put about a teaspoon of salt in here. Actually, it's a teaspoon if you're using a quart jar. We're using pint jars, so it's going to be a little bit less.
And as far as salt, I mean, they even have in the stores, they have canning and pickling salt. You can get that if you want, but I mean, sea salt works just fine as well.
Yep.
So now we'll ladle our boiling water into the jar, and we want to leave about an inch of headspace.
Yes, we do.
Yes. There you go.
Excellent.
Dun, dun, dun.
Here it goes.
Don't spill it.
Big time
Ready for
excitement.
this?
Spill it.
Pretend it's boiling, scalding hot water. All the more reason to have a ladle.
And that's about it.
Perfect. Oh, I would have died.
Okay. So we will put this back on our simulation stove. We're gonna, when you're doing this, you also want to make sure that the lid is completely dry. That's why using those are nice, because you can normally avoid that. But if not, wipe it dry.
And the less that you can, you know, touch stuff with your fingers, I was always taught, the better, you know, just because your hands, as you should wash them, you know, still might have little grease on there or whatever, so.
Okay, so
Next step.
we have, and again, simulated, we have 7 or 8 of these prepared, okay? We're gonna put them in our pressure cooker,
Dum, bum, bum.
which has 3 quarts of water in it.
And is that enough to cover all the jars, or so
no,
it's
it's
underneath
just
that? Okay, gotcha.
to build up the
It'll-
moisture and pressure.
Yeah, be right back there.
Gotcha.
So this will go on the stove on high heat, okay? Once you start it off like this is gonna vet steam, okay? For 10 minutes. Now once this becomes pressurized, this little thing will pop up, okay? Once that pops up, we set this on here, and we wait for it to start gently rocking back and forth.
Awesome. Well, how about when we come back, we'll talk about extracting the cans out of the pressure cooker so you don't have a hole in your roof.
Correct. Safety first. We want to make sure you do it the right way.
Awesome.
Tune back after the break. We're going to have a lot more awesome
You'll find
things to
out
teach
what
ya.
this means.
And welcome back to No Joke Survival.
Preparations for the average family.
All right. This episode, Canning and Preserving. Before the break, I was talking about the pressure cooker, and we had put our potatoes, we got them into the jar. We put a little bit of salt in there. We poured boiling water on top. We left about an inch of headspace, put on the lids and sealed them up. And then we take, and it helps if you have a basket so that they don't bounce around, but I typically just try to pack it with enough to where they don't bounce around. And
You could even hear that little pressure.
so again, we let air escape for 10 minutes. We put the rocker on, it starts rocking, 35 minutes at 15 pounds of pressure for our altitude. Now, we take it off the heat, leave it alone. This thing's gonna be in the up position because it's pressurized. Just let it cool down and depressurize all on its own. Eventually that drops down. Eventually you can lift this off, no steam pours out. Carefully open the lid.
Contents will be hot.
Yes, this is all going to be very hot. And that's where the grabby handle thing,
That is the technical term for that.
that's the technical term. And so we'll take them out, and we're pretending that these are really, really hot. Yes,
Taters.
these are so hot. Oh,
And
my
they're going to be
goodness.
so tasty.
And I'm going to move this lid because it's in my way.
Well, and something else that, my mistake that we didn't touch on earlier is in the first steps, let me grab this lid here, as far as the tools and equipment needed for canning, when I mentioned earlier that you don't really want to use your hands, there's a wee magnet here that you can use to put this onto your can, whatnot. Then you also have, if you have jellies and jams, if you have something with a lot of air, you want to try and use if you have a spatula, if you have one of these lovely tools to kind of swirl it around, get the bubbles out. This little tier.
Demonstrate.
Yes, we will stir in out the bubbles.
Nice.
Whew. getting the bubbles out. This also, I've actually never seen one of these, so this is really nifty that you have this. But there's a few different measurements on how much clearance for the different items you'll need. Again, looking at the different recipes, calling for different headspace, and
Nice.
so. I mean,
So now that we've got these set out, we used our thingy grabby.
thingy grabby.
Thingy grabby. Just let them cool off. Don't touch them. That water is still boiling in there.
Gotcha.
After a while, you should hear a pop. You'll hear it. It's really cool. Pop, 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 pop. And what happens is this depresses in. If you can detent it and hear it, then it didn't seal correctly. Okay?
Do it again.
And you want to start over and not use those. But if it did seal correctly, that'll drop down, and boom, we have food for 1 or 2 years later if we chose.
Ta-da.
But now, time for the contest.
Yes.
Already.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I better move this stuff out of the way.
Got some items here. Whoa. But what is this, pray tell?
Well, in this contest segment, we are going to peel some potatoes and chuck them into those pots.
Oh.
Yep.
Those are very far away.
Because that seemed like something I would do in my kitchen.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I chuck potatoes all the time.
Yeah, of course.
And are you competing with James?
Sure.
Okay, fantastic. We'll put you in this spot.
Well, I'm
James.
left-handed. That
Do you
might
have
be
one?
a little,
My
out of my
Timothy
favor.
is somewhere else.
Okay. So I will hand them to you as you complete them, and we'll see who gets the most.
Baby potato.
On your mark. Get set. Go!
Yay!
Go!
Well, normally, I mean...
Now don't take off your finger.
I was like, wait.
This is one of those things.
Well, you have, ideally 9 others, or, some more, but...
That's true. And we have done, well, one of our future episodes is first aid, so we might go
we
straight
should
into
have done that
that
one first.
Yeah,
I
we'll go
think.
straight into it if
First aid goes right along with
someone
potatoes.
loses a finger.
These are tiny little potatoes.
Oh, I know, and it makes it such a challenge. Look at the mess you guys are making.
Well, ideally, you wouldn't do that. Ideally, you would actually have, I like to just put my I like to put my garbage right next to me.
What do you think of that, Tater?
Yes!
He's beating you. That's extra points if you can get it done.
Yeah. Oh, wow. This is going to take the whole rest of the contest here. Oh, my. Oh.
Okay, now on a serious note, when we're doing these and you get the potatoes all cleaned up, you want to make sure and wash them really well, rinse them really well, and then after you dice them up, go ahead and rinse them again, and because you want to make sure that you're as clean and as safe as possible. You want to avoid any possibility of getting sick. Make sure and do your research before you attempt to can anything.
There are cookbooks also that's made, specifically for canning. You can get a few of those in case in the situation where power goes out.
That's right. And for more information, go to our Facebook page at Facebook/NoJokeSurvival or our website, www.nojokesurvival.com. You can get lots of great information, watch videos, and come back and see us for our next episode. It's going to be exciting.
Look at all those pits in there. No.
And some of these other ones right here, we have things falling on the ground. Oh, I think I may have wet myself a little bit.
If you're up on a mountain, you may want to go down into a valley, or observe the area. Some lime.
Oh my God, what is that? What is that, dude?
Probably a Sasquatch. They're all over the place.
This is important. You don't want to wipe your backside with something that might be poisonous.
What you want to do is literally just sit down and listen.
I kind of blew my way through there pretty badly. There was a lot of outtakes. It's back, dude! It's back! Ah! Where is it? There it goes!
That's awesome. You never know what you're going to find in the wild. I love it. Or some sort of area where you're going to find people and be rescued.
Oh, man, that hurts! And now for a
blurred background. I literally got ants in my pants. While I was talking, I could feel them crawling down my butt crack.